Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We got our Steelers Broncos divisional round preview for you. Love saying that, divisional round.
Yeah, it's been a while since you said it.
I've never got to say it on the spread.
Well, on the spread now.
Ha! First time for everything. 47, are you pumped up? You don't look pumped up.
Oh, I'm pumped up.
About to elbow you right in the chest.
I'd kick you in the face.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think your foot can get that high,
It
man.
definitely cannot.
Look, the Denver Broncos are a team that had very high hopes at the beginning of the season with Peyton Manning and company. But, I mean, he wasn't playing very well to start the season. Although
that's an understatement.
Well, look, they started out 7-0, though, so
You're
he
right.
still played well enough to win football games.
Well,
Well, he did. There's no doubt about it. They won with defense, but he played well enough to win football games, and when you're winning, that's all that really matters. However, they went 5-4 over their last 9 games of the season. Of course, Peyton Manning got hurt. Osweiler came in. He played okay. He was the one that started against the Steelers the last time these two teams played, and he had a great first half. The Steelers defense played like garbage in that first half. The Steelers offense played like garbage in that first half, and they were getting blown out. And then in the second half, everything turned. Big Ben had a great second half. The entire offense did, and the entire defense blew up in that second half, and Pittsburgh came out with a win.
that game was insane.
Yeah, it was.
I was sweating hard in the first half, and then in the second half, it was just a Steelers party. That was about it. But Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler, I don't know if I would have named Manning the starter if I was Gary Kubiak. And it's just my personal opinion, and what the hell do I know? I'm not a football coach. But Manning had 9 touchdowns and 17 picks in, 7 games that he played? And you're right. They were, 7-0 in those games, and he made plays when it mattered to help them win games, but I don't think I would necessarily say he played well enough to win the game. I think the defense was just so good that they were just, hoping and praying Manning didn't lose the game for them.
I tell you what, he gets rid of the ball quicker than Osweiler. He played a little bit more than Osweiler this season and was sacked 7 times less. Now, he, like you said, he threw 17 picks. Not a good season for him, just 9 touchdowns. But listen, Osweiler in that last game of the season there, he wasn't getting it done. They brought in Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning brought him back to win that game in the second half. The team gets more pumped up. I mean, did you hear the crowd when Peyton Manning came in the game? Everyone got excited, and it was a boost for them to come back and win that game, even though it wasn't necessarily completely on his shoulders why they won the game. But it definitely wasn't the run game with them this year either. Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson, really, they've had decent seasons. Neither one got to 1,000 yards, but Anderson, he averaged 4.7 yards per carry this season, and Hillman 4.2. So in the end, it was a decent season for him. Combined 12 touchdowns on the ground, not terrible, but it wasn't the season they expected from these guys, especially C.J. Anderson. They thought this guy was going to be one of the top 5 backs in the NFL this year, probably compete for an NFL rushing title. He really didn't work out. Hillman started getting more and more playing time, and then C.J. Anderson did come back a little bit and start running the ball a little bit better. So we'll have to see in this game because we know Pittsburgh can stop the run very well. And those two, the first time around, what did they have? 47?
Hillman was 14 for 48, and Anderson was 4 for 14.
Yeah, so nothing going really on the ground for him there. They did have over 100 yards combined because of an Emmanuel Sanders end around, I believe it was, a 20-some yard run.
24 yards.
24-yard run. Emmanuel Sanders was the guy that had the huge game against Pittsburgh the last time around. What do you have?
He had 10 for 181 and a touchdown.
Yeah, most of that coming in the first half, though, when they really blew up.
Before we get into the obvious Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown injuries and whether or not they'll play, does Denver feel like the traditional 1 seed to you guys? Because they don't to me, and I know that they deserve it. I'm not saying they don't. They won the games that they needed to earn that title. But they faltered a little bit down the stretch. Like you said, 5-4 down the second half of the season. If you want to say a team backed into the playoffs, I mean, That's what I see as backing into the playoffs, not something like the Steelers did where, yeah, they lost to Baltimore, but then they had to rally and win the next week and somebody win for them. To me, that's not backing in. That's squeaking in. But I think Denver's really, their defense is still playing great, don't get me wrong, but their offense is really just trended downward. Here and there it's spiked through the season, but their offense doesn't scare me, even with the poorest Pittsburgh Steelers pass defense.
Well, considering Pittsburgh can stop the run and the way C.J. Anderson and Hillman didn't get it done last time around and really haven't got it done the way they wanted to this season, relying on either Manning or Osweiler this season is dangerous territory, definitely.
Believe it.
So, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but they did it in the end. They won their last 2 games of the season while look at New England. They couldn't win their last 2 games of the season. They lost out. So, yeah, Denver definitely deserves it, but there is no team out there right now that I could say is an official number 1 in the AFC.
Right. They just don't have that feel. Most of the years it was New England, or,
Right.
Some years it was Indianapolis when Peyton was younger and they were just rolling through people. But, yeah, there's even in the NFC, I mean, you got the Panthers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. I mean, in the NFL, it's parity has taken over in the last 10 years, and it's really evened out the league a lot.
And like you were saying before, we know Peyton Manning not having the season we thought he could have, but he still got the ball to Demaryius Thomas this season. 176 targets, 105 catches, 1,304 yards, and he also added 6 touchdowns as well. So Demaryius Thomas, he was hurt there at the end of the season. I think he's healthy now, and everything's a go with him. Emmanuel Sanders is healthy. So they do have a good 1-2 combo out there. And let's not forget Owen Daniels as well. We know Pittsburgh not very good against tight ends, but Owen Daniels over the years has given Pittsburgh some fits in Baltimore and in Houston. So you got to watch out for Owen Daniels as well. But that's the thing. Peyton Manning, not a great season, but he still was able to get the ball to Demaryius Thomas. So these corners still got to step up and have a good game, force a couple turnovers because, like I said, Demaryius Thomas can definitely beat you. And the numbers show right here, Manning to Thomas still happened this season.
The thing for me is Manning to anybody isn't going to happen deep downfield as much as it used to. And Ryan Shazier, I mean, after the game he had last week against Cincinnati, this guy looks like a man possessed. He's really coming into his own in the Steelers defense. And if Manning has to dink and dunk across the middle of the field, I think he can really bait Manning into a couple plays and make a couple big plays, whether it's interceptions, fumbles, or just batted passes. But I think Ryan Shazier is really going to do a good job shutting down the middle of the football field.
Yeah, I think that's the way they got to beat him, though. I don't think they're going to get to Peyton Manning as much as we want them to in this game. I don't see 4 or 5 sacks because Peyton Manning, he doesn't have that deep ball, like you said. So you're going to see him get the ball out quick.
Right.
So that's the way you got to do it. You got to force him to make some turnovers in this game, and that's really going to help this offense as well because we know Big Ben's in the same situation as Peyton Manning right now. His arm may be crap.
Well, worth noting about Peyton Manning, too, is he's never really truly been terrific in the playoffs.
Believe it.
Oh, please believe.
I mean, I know he does have a Super Bowl under his belt, but...
Yeah, a good Peyton Manning struggled in the playoffs, so a garbage Peyton Manning, you would think, is
Who
going to
knows?
struggle
Watch
in
him
the
go
playoffs.
out there and throw 5 touchdowns now that he's garbage in the regular season.
It could happen.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
But what about the obvious Brown Roethlisberger injury? Who will play?
I think Ben's going to go this week.
I agree.
He's a tough guy. He'll get through it.
I mean, we talked about it on the recap from the Bengals game. We talked to Brandon, our athletic trainer. I mean, the AC joint, it's got 3 grades of sprains, 1, 2, 3. There might be some more. But he said if it's not above a grade 2, Big Ben's going to play. Now, there's new reports today that came out that says Ben has torn ligaments, when yesterday there were reports that said nothing was torn and it was just the sprain. You never know with the NFL. I mean, yeah, they're supposed to fully disclose information on injuries to the league early in the week, blah, blah, blah. But we all know that doesn't exactly happen. I mean, for like a 5-year span, I don't know if it was exactly that long. It might have actually only happened for 1 year. But Brady was on the injury report up in New England with a shoulder injury as probable so many times. So Big Ben, the Steelers, they could be leaking misinformation. So I wouldn't buy into a whole lot of it. Brandon also told us the AC joint is the one thing you can safely inject, so he'll get the pain injection. He may not be able to throw the ball as far downfield, But unless you chop his legs off, I think Roethlisberger plays in this game.
Well, I mean, the ability to go downfield, I mean, that's definitely something that's going to be missed because that's a big part of our offense.
Yeah,
You know, 'cause
definitely.
all of a sudden you're taking away something that Martavis Bryant.
Yeah, Jim said it many a times. We're the type of offense to have those big plays. The one bonus is if Antonio Brown does play, he can make the big play from 10 yards away. You know what I mean?
Right.
A 10-yard pass, Brown takes it to the house. Martavis Bryant can do the same thing. So that's one bonus you have there. Although on the other side, Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas are no joke either. They can do the same exact thing.
Well, what scares me with Sanders and Thomas is they're, like you just said, they're both great after they get the ball in their hands, and Thomas is strong. I mean, for a wide receiver, that guy could probably play tight end in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
We seen him stiff arm Ike Taylor to the ground. Ike Taylor wasn't the greatest pass catching corner, but I mean, he tackled everybody. He
Right.
was stout. And for Thomas to be able to just shove his face into the ground, that just shows how good that guy is and how strong he is. And Antoine Blake doesn't tackle well. All Mike Mitchell tries to do is break you and hit you in the face. So it's going to be on Willie Gay and Cockrell and Allen and Boykin if he plays. They're going to have to tackle. You cannot let these guys run after the catch. But with Antonio Brown's injury, even if he is okay, he has to be cleared by an independent neurologist separate from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this is a guy who was assigned to them. It's not somebody they hire. It's not somebody they can control. I mean, maybe they do. You don't really know. We're not in an NFL locker room. Maybe they do have some leverage over the guy or whatever. But he could want to play, feel great, and the neurologists still say, nope, sorry. The NFL's taking a big stand on concussions right now, so that's the one thing that worries me about AB. And then there were reports yesterday that said he would play most likely. Now there's reports today that says it's not looking good. Bob Holtzman, I think, of ESPN was the first to report it.
Well, I
So
seen yesterday they
it's
were
up and
saying it
down.
later in the night too, so I don't know where that officially came from. But that's another reason to say Antonio Brown did not fake that injury, just because there's the fact that he has to go through a doctor. So a doctor could say, no, you can't play this week. Oh, I faked an injury last game, and now I can't play this
Yeah.
week. You know what I mean? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Adam Jones is a garbage human being.
And
I'm sorry.
from the post you just read to us a little bit ago, I think Antonio Brown still has a concussion. Because what was that post?
Okay, yeah, Brown posted on his Facebook page about the Powerball being so big, and this is word for word. So, ... what would with the money if you won, Steeler Nation?
Exactly.
So he definitely still has a concussion, dudes. Beat.
Yeah, I still think he's going to play in this game as well. I think he's going to find a way to play.
Too.
The one question I have is whether or not D'Angelo Williams plays in this game or not.
The NFL doesn't like concussions, but also the NFL doesn't like it when their stars don't play in the playoffs, because that's what people watch. And we seen it last week with the bum quarterbacks. They all lost. I mean, the NFL wants their stars.
Yeah, we seen the first two times these teams played, we really needed Antonio Brown. I think he had 16 catches or something in that game, 180-some yards, I believe it was, couple touchdowns. Yep. Am I right on that?
16
and
for
you know what?
189.
Bryant came up big in that game, and Marcus Wheaton both came up in that game as well. So Big Ben got to spread the ball around, get all these receivers involved, because they did not run the ball very well the first time out either.
Well, if Brown doesn't play, how much more important does that make, like, say, Heath Miller?
Yeah, Heath Miller, a lot more importance, and definitely Martavis Bryant, I think, has a bigger duty if Brown doesn't play as well.
Same thing with Marcus Wheaton.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everybody got to take a step up, but Bryant, I mean, he got to be that go-to guy, in my opinion, at that point.
Are we going to see a lot of Todd Haley screen passes again because of Ben's arm? Maybe early?
I don't know. That's what scares me, man. I don't like Todd Haley to begin with when he has his full arsenal. Now that he has to improvise with an injured Big Ben, yeah, that really scares me. I'm telling you, I don't see the same type of game as last time around. 34-27.
No,
I don't. It's just not going to happen this time.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be close. Maybe at the most somebody scores 24.
Yeah, at most. I don't even think anybody's going to score 24 in this game.
Anybody know the weather?
You're looking at 42 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, a little bit of sunlight. So, I mean, in all actuality, really not that bad weather conditions.
Any wind?
And only 5 miles per hour on the wind.
Whoa. See, now that's going to benefit Manning and Roethlisberger because it won't be blowing their ducks all over the field.
They're 10-yard ducks.
Wah.
It's going to be an Aflac.
Get that duck to run across the field.
That's what it's going to be.
Is Joey Porter going to come into the game and help the Steelers win?
Well, I seen last week when Vontaze Burfict got suspended, they said that they are still looking into the situation and more players and or coaches could be suspended. And I'm thinking if since they put in that word coaches, I'm thinking Joey Porter could get suspended a game, and it could be this game.
Munchak pulled Reggie Nelson's hair, so it could be him.
but
I don't even think he did it on purpose. To me, it almost looked like he was trying to stop him. And
Yeah,
I'm not
he did
saying
that
this
part.
exactly, but it just looks like he grabbed both things at one time. When you see it in slow motion, it looks like he purposely did it. But you got to remember, in full speed, he's just reaching out to try to stop somebody from ramming him. I'm not saying he didn't pull it on purpose, but I'm saying there's a 50-50 chance that it was just a bang-bang play. And I mean, just somebody reaching out.
Here's what I think happened. I think he did intend to stop Reggie Nelson. He did stop him. You've seen that. But I think Reggie Nelson said something to him, and it upset Mike Munchak, and he threw him to the side a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Because you can't hear what's going on as well. And it looked like he did have him stopped. And I think he did toss him a little bit. But whatever. Who cares? No one cares. I don't think he's going to get
Cincinnati
suspended for
fans
that.
care.
He got his penalty for that. I think it's more about Joey Porter.
Love Joey Porter.
But I don't think Joey Porter's going to go on the field this week. No, I think the Steelers are going to keep everything in check. And this isn't going to be a chippy game like it was the last time around with Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati just has some problems, and that's the kind of game that they play. Where Steelers, I mean, we've seen it a couple times this season. They were chippy, but most of the time, everything was kept in check.
I forgot to ask you this on the recap. Has Jarvis Jones done enough in the playoffs in that game, the strip sack? Did that earn him a chance to come back next year? Maybe at a lesser rate?
I never look at one game. You know what I mean? I don't like to look at one game. I like to look at a bigger sample. So I'm going to say no.
What
but,
if he continues and
yeah,
has
if he can
a good run through the
continue
playoffs?
on, yeah, definitely.
I know he's lost most of it to Harrison this year, most of his snaps or whatever, but if he does have that beast run, he may be back. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It depends on if they want to run a 4-3 or not as well.
You know, I love James Harrison, but I mean, if you're Jarvis Jones and you can't outplay James Harrison at this point of Harrison's career,
Harrison's still a beast, man.
He
He had
is
a
a
good
beast.
game last week, too. Nothing spectacular, but he made a couple plays as well. He had that sack early in the game.
I'm not trying to hate on Harrison because he's one of my favorite Steelers of all time.
Believe it. Oh, yeah, we got a comment by Nick Trell saying David Tyree over Santonio Holmes because I said the David Tyree catch was the best catch I ever seen. Yeah, definitely over Santonio Holmes. The Santonio Holmes was all about the moment. Really, that catch happens a lot during the course of a season. It's not a huge catch. Now, I think the Big Ben pass on that play was ridiculous. It was one of the best passes because it was right on point. If it was an inch higher, he wouldn't have came down in the end zone. If it was an inch lower, it would have got tipped or picked off. So I think the pass was actually better than the reception at that point. And yeah, I see receptions like that all the time throughout the course of the season. It was all about when it happened and really the whole drive. Santonio Holmes blew up on that entire drive.
There's only one immaculate reception, and that will always
Yeah.
be the best catch in football.
Yeah, that
history.
was a better catch to me than the Santonio Holmes catch for
It
sure.
was immaculate.
David Tyree's catch, Odell Beckham's catches. I seen Steve Smith make a bunch of catches I think are better. Marvin Harrison I seen before. There's a lot of catches I like better than that Santonio catch.
You know what though? I mean, I think about that Tyree catch, and
Yeah,
how lucky was that?
complete luck.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I get it. But so was the Martavis Bryant catch. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Catch a football and do somersaults, man. What's ridiculous about that? That's how I always catch a
Yeah.
football.
Believe it.
I did a duck and roll at work trying to sneak out to smoke a cigarette the other day.
So who on this Denver offense are you most worried about?
Emmanuel Sanders.
I'm going to
Emmanuel
say
Sanders?
Demarius Thomas. I don't think Sanders burns us twice.
Well, you know he wants to beat the Steelers. He'd always love to beat the Steelers.
Well, you
Well,
know
he
what?
got his quarterback in duck arm Peyton Manning now instead
Yeah.
of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I just look for Sanders to take an exclusive involvement this week. I mean, he's good running his routes. I think Thomas is, for the most part, probably going to be kept in check. You're not going to be able to cover both of them all day.
Yeah, I think that's where Owen Daniels comes into account too. If Sanders and Thomas both have their type of games that they can have, you really got to make sure you shut down the tight end here.
Well, if Peyton Manning starts going into the shotgun, are you going to see more of a zone-based defense type? You know, they're going to be dropping like...
You'll see 4 men rushing most likely and everybody else dropping.
Yeah, I
Or
really...
even a 3-man rush.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really don't think you should send too many people with Peyton Manning too often because that's when he's going to be able to beat you.
I think big play Willie Gay shuts down Emmanuel Sanders 47. So I do agree that you can't cover both. I just disagree and think that the other wide receiver is going to be the one to have the big game. I think Demaryius Thomas stiff arms Antoine Blake into the freaking ground, like almost literally jams his face right into the turf. Maybe he gets Blake out of the game, which actually helps Pittsburgh in the long run. I don't know.
What are the chances we see Osweiler in this game?
I'd give it a 50-50 shot.
50-50. I wouldn't go that high.
I mean,
there's a chance.
Dude, Manning's a statue back there. If he gets hit a couple times, he's done. He's had neck surgery. His foot's beat. His hamstrings are beat. His shoulders beat. I love Peyton Manning. I have all the respect in the world for the guy. Probably the greatest quarterback to ever play the position. I just don't think he has it anymore, man.
I think that falls on our corners, though. They got to cover these receivers really well for that to happen because, like I said, Peyton Manning gets rid of the ball a little quicker than Brock Osweiler does. So I don't think he's going to be hit that much in this game unless they cover these receivers very well and force him to hold the ball for an extra second or two.
Oh, enter Shazier and Timmons. How big are they going to have to be this game?
Oh, Shazier's going to play huge.
Yeah. He has to play like he did last week. I think Denver's a better team than Cincinnati. Even with Peyton Manning compared to A.J. McCarron, I still would take Manning over McCarron every day of the week.
My bold prediction of the week. Buttery Croissant goes off for a $150 this week. $150. You heard it here first, folks. Croissant's going to do it. Maybe not all rushing, but at least total yards, Buttery Croissant, $150. All day.
Yeah, that's another thing. He did very well.
He oils himself up so they can't tackle him, man. Croissants, they slip out of my hand all the time when I'm trying to eat Burger King breakfast. I drop that stuff constantly.
So he's the greased up deaf guy this week.
That's right. What is your key to victory, Dash?
I would say make Peyton Manning beat you. Sort of like last week. I said make A.J. McCarron beat you. I think that's pretty much the key throughout this playoffs because I really don't see, outside of Tom Brady, a quarterback that can really go out there and beat you. So make these guys beat you.
47?
I think it all comes down to the Steelers secondary. They're going to have to be ball hawks out there. You know, I mean, this game is going to be hinged on turnovers. Whoever turns the ball over the most is most likely going to lose this game. So, I mean, I'm going to put it out there for the Steelers secondary to put up a big performance, both in coverage and forcing turnovers.
I'm down with it.
I'm going to go with defense, but since Peyton Manning hasn't played in so long, he's going to be rusty to me. I think, and Dash, I know we've talked about this a lot, rushing Manning isn't always the best idea. He gets rid of the ball much, much quicker than Osweiler. I don't know if his mental, lacking the mental reps, if that's going to be there. I just feel like Manning's lack of playing, that's never really happened to him in his career outside of the 1 year he didn't play, from the injuries and then came back with Denver the following year, and he did play great. But there's never been a point in Manning's career, really, where he missed a lot of games in a season and then came back. I just don't see it. So I think the Steelers need to put pressure on Manning and force him to make quick decisions and quick throws because I just don't think that the mental reps are there enough for him, and I think they'll force him into a lot of mistakes. They don't even have to get there, necessarily and sack him. They just got to get into his face because, let's face it, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's not running anywhere. The dude will fall apart if he has to run. He'll literally just crumble as he's trying to run. Pieces will be falling off of him. I
think on the offensive side, it's just keeping people off of Big Ben. Make sure Big Ben is healthy in this game and makes it throughout the entire game because as soon as Landry Jones comes in the game, I think it's pretty much over.
You got to stay balanced for me. 29 rushes last week, 31 passes, I believe, somewhere around there.
Well, the last time these two played, Big Ben had, 55 pass attempts, and they didn't run the ball at all, hardly.
Right, but that was with a healthy shoulder, so...
17 carries.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to try to stay more balanced offensively.
Oh, the bottom line is they need to do whatever works. If running the ball will be... They're going to have to keep that Denver offense off the field.
Do that by forcing turnovers.
What is your official prediction, Dash?
I think it's going to be a close game. This line is -6.5 right now. I think that's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think either team's going to win by that much. I don't even think either team's going to even come close to winning by that much. I think it's going to be really close. I'm going to say 20-17. Pittsburgh.
There it is. I agree. It's going to be a close game. The weather is good, but the quarterback's arms are both beat. Both teams are going to try to run the ball against defenses that are good at stopping the run. It's going to be a defensive struggle. I think whichever defense can make the most plays is going to help their team win this football game. I think Pittsburgh wins it 21-17.
That was my prediction last week. 21-17 over Cincy. I was pretty close.
47.
Well, the weather's not going to be as bad as what we thought. I still think this game is going to be a low-scoring game. The defenses will prevail this week. I think I'm going to go even lower with you guys. I'm going to say 17-14 Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's one thing we keep saying. There's not many great quarterbacks here in the AFC in the playoffs outside of Ben and Tom Brady. But you look around, all these defenses are good.
The Steelers had the worst kicking game in the league early in the year. Did they have the best kicker in the playoffs?
No, Blair Walsh.
Dude's so good, he doesn't even kick it through the uprights.
I have no problem with her kicker right now, man. I'd take him over anybody.
Believe
Although
it.
Gostkowski, he's a beast. The guy out there in Green Bay, what's his name? Crosby?
I think so, yeah.
He's good as well. There are some good kickers here in the playoffs as well. So I'm not going to say this rookie kicker's the best to have, but I trust him.
What about Sebastian Janikowski?
Yeah, he's not in the playoffs.
He's over in Poland drinking vodka right now. Anything else for the fans?
Not that I can think of.
47.
Nothing here.
Fans,
They're Steelers.
any question or comments, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. I posted Pac-Man Jones tirade, Snoop Dogg's little happy dance. I think Antonio Brown was actually FaceTiming with Snoop after the game last week. I might be able to find that, throw that up there. Keep coming back to YouTube. Click and subscribe. 243 is not enough.
It's been like that for like 2 weeks, man.
I know, it's brutal.